Hello and welcome. This is IELTS Speaking Practice, and I'm going to be your IELTS Speaking examiner. My name is Dana Gulbakhitova. Can you tell me your full name, please?
Hello, my name is Aisha Bailaki.
Okay, and what can I call you?
You can call me Aisha.
Okay, Aisha. We're going to start with part one, and in this part, I'm going to ask you a few general questions about yourself. Okay, let's start with what you do. Can you tell me what you do? Do you work or are you a student?
Both I'm a medical student at Asana Medical University. I also work full-time at a company.
Okay, and tell me about your studies a little bit. What exactly do you study?
I'm a pediatrician, so I study about the anatomy, the psychology of babies and their mothers to easily interact with them.
Okay, and what do you like about your studies?
Is that it gives a new experiences in new classes and new lessons. For example, we had a psychiatry lessons last semester.
Okay, now let's talk about watches. Do you like to wear watches?
I really love wearing watches in special occasions. When I go outside with my friends or to some events. But in daily life, I like to check my time on my smartphone.
Okay, have you ever received a watch as a gift?
Yes, I received a watch as a gift from my mother when she arrived from Istanbul. It's really, it was really kind of her and enjoyable, not because she gifted me as something expensive, but the thought of giving me something, thinking about her child was very important to me.
Okay, now let's talk about headphones. Do you use headphones?
Yes, I usually use headphones all the time when I'm listening to some podcasts or when I'm in my work meetings.
Okay, and what type of headphones do you use?
I usually wear the wireless ones because when I had the ear over heavy headphones, they were very heavy and inconvenient to grab with me.
Okay, in what situations would you use headphones?
How I mentioned, I usually wear my headphones while I'm listening to podcasts, and if I'm in a crowded place, it's very convenient for me.
Okay. Now let's talk about art. Do you like modern art or traditional art?
I lean to traditional art more than the modern art because it has some history behind that. The colors, the design is more interesting than the modern art. I don't feel anything when I watch modern art. I can when I go to the museums, I can stand towards traditional art.
Have you ever visited an art gallery?
Yes, last time it was in October in Astana National Museum. There was an art gallery for Michael Jackson. I even remember the quote that the people can die easily if they know they are loved, and die that they know knowing they loved.
Okay, very interesting. Thank you so much. This is the end of part one. In the next part, I'm going to give you a cue card, and you will have 1 minute to prepare for the topic. And then I'm going to stop you, and then you will have 2 minutes to talk about the topic. Here is your cue card and a paper for taking notes. Your 1 minute for preparation starts now. Okay, your 1 minute preparation is up. Now I'm going to give you 2 minutes to talk about the topic. You may start speaking now.
If I would describe a food that people eat at special events, I would talk about Nowruz kuje. It's the food that that people prepare in Nowruz equinox. Also, people in Central Asia celebrate it as their new year. People eat it because the more greater we call it dastarkhan. Because the more greater dastarkhan you have, the more goods Nowruz kuje you have, the whole year gonna be last great. So they believe that and prepare it from 7 ingredients. Usually every family has their own tradition, their ingredients and recipe, but mostly it contains from water, rice. Some people may even add curd to it. Also there are salt and other ingredients. There are 7 ingredients because it's a sacred number in Kazakhstan and Central Asia as well. I like this food so much because it's not just about the taste and benefits of this food. It's about togetherness with all generations. You feel united with all the people, with your nation. Every Nowruz I go to the village of my relatives and spend time with my loved ones. There are always a lot of yurts out there and games for a few days.
Okay, thank you, Aisha. I'm gonna stop you now. Thank you so much. This is the end of your part 2. Now we will move on to part 3, and in this part I will ask you some more general questions related to the topic that you talked about before, which is food. What kind of food is most common in your country?
It is definitely yet or bishparmak. People really love this because there are a lot of benefits, nutritions in it, and it's also very easy to prepare. If you prepare the meat, then you can buy other ingredients fast and serve it to your guests. Also, it's very important because you serve yet for the people who you respect and admire.
Okay. And what food do you personally eat on special occasions?
On special occasions, I really love eating mante. Every time I go to my hometown, I ask my mom to do it because it is too basic for me, and mante gives this feeling of home. It's not about the taste of food and nutrition, it's more about the emotions it gives me.
Okay. Do you think food is better now or in the past?
I would say both are great, but today we have more options and ingredients. If I were living in a past time, I would have the same cuisine every day. But nowadays, I can go to every restaurant and try cuisines of other cultures. So I lean more to newer ones.
Okay. Are there any differences between the food people eat today and the food people ate in the past?
I think there are a lot of differences because people usually would prepare their food by themselves. They would kill the animal and do all other preparations for it. Now we can buy it just on supermarkets, and usually we buy processed food with generally modified foods.
now I will start giving you your feedback. Let's start with part one. In part one, what I noticed with your fluency and coherence, and by the way, I'm going to use and relate back to 4 assessment criteria, which are fluency and coherence, lexical resource, grammatical range and accuracy, and pronunciation. So let's start with fluency and coherence. I didn't notice any hesitations in part one, and 2 and 3, by the way, your fluency was almost perfect. There were quite a few long pauses with part one questions, with only some of them. If I'm not mistaken, it was the topic of art. So you were having, a little bit of too long pauses here and there. But other than that, it was good. And in terms of lexical resource, I loved the topic vocabulary that you used with headphones, like wireless headphones, and some more high-level vocab like acquire, which was really cool. In terms of your grammatical range and accuracy, there were minor slips here and there. For example, with medical students. So when you talked about yourself, you said, I am medical student. So we missed something out there, which is yes, a medical student, absolutely. I love that you know about it, because it means that it was just an error, right? Okay, in special occasions, which preposition? Yes, on special occasions, exactly. And I noticed a pattern out there. You use the phrase how I mentioned a lot. So instead of saying how I mentioned, you could say as I mentioned, or like I said before. Okay, so this would be, righter way to say this. So instead of how I mentioned, as I mentioned earlier, or like I said before. Pronunciation in part one was perfect. About part two, fluency and coherence were perfect as well. Lexical resource, I loved the word united that you used. It was like very on point. But one minor thing I would like to comment on is village of my relatives, which is fine grammatically, but what I would suggest and what would sound even better and more natural is just my relative's place. So it's something more, once again, natural in speaking, okay? So when we speak, we don't really say village of blah, blah. In terms of grammatical range and accuracy, more greater, more good. What do you think is wrong here with comparatives? More greater. So you don't need more. So if you say greater, that's it. Okay, so that's already a comparative, so you don't need more. And more good, what do we say with good? With comparatives? Better, right? So instead of more good, you could say better. That's for your grammar. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes, okay, good. And another thing with prepositions, so contains from, water, and so on and so forth. So when you were talking about notice que you mentioned contains from blah, blah, blah. You don't need from. So when you use the word contains, you just say contains water, meat, and so on. You can say consists of, but I think contains is more natural in this case. With your pronunciation, can you please pronounce the word ingredients?
Ingredients?
Yeah, sometimes, so the pronunciation was a bit unstable with this word, so sometimes you would pronounce it correctly, other times not, but that's just a minor slip, okay? And last but not least, part three, coherence was lost here and there. I wish you could give me some more specific answers in part three. Your answers were indeed quite long for part three questions, but I was expecting a little more depth with these, especially when I was asking about food. You could dig into, talking about ingredients, talking about and using some topic vocabulary here and there, but your answers were just, like surface level, some of them, okay? So we could work on the depth a little bit more. That would really help with your fluency and coherence. In terms of lexical resource, once again, a little depth is needed. So you could say something like, for the first question, what kind of food is most common in your country? You could say something like, well, I would say anything related to meat and dough. So, just to give an overall context out there and use some topic vocabulary here and there. For example, you could talk about how exactly the meat is prepared. You could say, we usually boil the meat, right, for beshbermak. So, topic vocabulary. And word choice, So with beşparmak, do you use do it or make it? Make it, right? So you use do it, and that's just a minor slip. In terms of grammatical range and accuracy, you said if I were living like in the past or something like that, you don't really need past continuous in this case. If I lived in the past, I would da, 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 okay? And on supermarkets,
In this.
at, right? At supermarkets would be correct here. And last but not least, pronunciation. So lean. So I really loved the way you use this phrase. Like I lean more towards this, but be careful with your pronunciation. So it's not lin, it's lean. Okay, so it's a long vowel out there. But overall, I really loved your performance. My personal feedback would be for fluency and coherence, it's solid 8. Loved it, absolutely. We could work on your coherence and depth a little bit more in part 3. Lexical resource, somewhere in between 7 and 8. Once again, if the examiner is strict, they could give you 7, but I loved the way you use some, high-level words here and there. So I would really give you an 8 for this one. For grammatical range and accuracy, I am forced to give you a 7 because some of the mistakes were, pretty basic. Although you know the rules, you were forgetting about them a little bit. So yeah, that's a 7 for grammar, and somewhere in between 7 and 8 for pronunciation. Because your intonation was a bit unstable. Sometimes you would use like really good intonation and highlight some of the words that you say, but other times I didn't notice that. So you were quite monotonous with your answers sometimes. So once again, if the examiner is strict, it could go down to 7, but I would give you an 8, and the overall score would be 7.5, which is super great. That's an advanced level. Congratulations. And do you agree with my feedback?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you so much for coming here, and I wish you good luck with your real exam. Окей, на этом у нас все. Если вам понравилась данная рубрика, обязательно подписывайтесь на мой YouTube-канал. А если вас интересуют курсы по подготовке к IELTS, или же вы хотите реально заговорить на уровне Advanced, так же, как и моя ученица Айша, by the way, обязательно переходите по ссылке ниже, и мы вам дадим полную информацию о курсе. Всем пока, всех целую, всех обнимаю.